Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to Coffee with Craig, where we talk about breaking news, firearms, policy, culture, movies, you name it. We're talking about it right here on Coffee with Craig. Thank you for liking and sharing this. FPCgear.com. That's FPCgear.com. We're always adding new t-shirts. In fact, we're just adding some brand new t-shirts right now. For those of you who've been following the whole CD printing or 3D printing discussion that's been going on over the last week, we have some very cool Code is Free Speech t-shirts for you to check out. I know you guys have been asking for them. Go there, check it out. That's FPCgear.com. Do not want to miss it. Speaking of 3D printing, you guys, I'm sure you guys have seen all the reporting. You guys have seen all the stuff that's been out there. You guys already know just before he got ready to go live, Cody Wilson, judge in Seattle, swooped in, put in a temporary restraining order. FPC and a number of other organizations stepped up, and we put up a website that where it is available for you to be able to download. Amazon came in, or where it was hosted, and said, nope, we're not going to let you have this site there. They took it down, and then we put it back up. And now you've got Facebook going around saying, well, no, you can't post links to codeisfreespeech.com. I mean, literally, it's the most interesting thing, because all of this debate, all of this discussion, all of this hoopla, and what's really funny about it is, really only one side of the entire debate is really informed about what's going on, about exactly what it is that we're talking about. You have the politicians, and you have the media, and you have the left-wing tech industry all operating in an arena of fear-mongering and ignorance. And when you look at what the tech industry is doing, in particular Facebook and Amazon and some of these other folks, what they're doing is they're responding once again to the ignorance and the fear mongering. They don't care about the truth. They're not interested in the truth. What they know is, well, hey, the media is saying this, the politicians are saying this, so we all need to be scared. So I kind of wanted to share with you just some of the observations that some of the folks out there have shared with me relating to some of this stuff. So first off, by the way, yesterday I was on a panel discussion on Al Jazeera TV. Yeah, I know, Al Jazeera. Anyway, but what was interesting is in this panel discussion, they liked talking about saying, well, you know, we've got like 4 people from different perspectives. And I'm like, no, you have 2 perspectives. You have 3 people from one perspective and 1 person from another perspective. But once again, the entire show was about dictating a false narrative. And there's one guy that's in this that by the way, let me just let you watch it, and I'll give you kind of my commentary on it on the flip side. So here you go.
In 3D printer technology, machines extrude minuscule layers of plastic or resin that gradually build up three-dimensional objects using computerized patterns. We asked professional 3D printer Peter Minotti to make one for us.
Consumer printers are available for as low as $300, so anybody that has $300 can essentially print one.
3D printable guns have no serial numbers, so they're untraceable. They don't require permits or background checks, so anybody can have one. And because they're plastic, they can go through any metal detector.
So you hear the issue laid out there. I want to play a video comment that we got from the CEO of a 3D printing company when we heard we were doing this story. This is what he told Al Jazeera.
Open source gun designs have been around for as long as I can remember. Before the internet, you could get them by mail order or buy them at a gun show. And the tools to make guns have been around since the Luddites failed to stop mechanization. Let's say we were successful at banning or stopping people from uploading and publishing gun designs on the internet. That really wouldn't do anything. There's many ways to acquire and capture the data today. There's low-cost laser scanners and 3D digitizers that you can put any object under and it will capture that 3D data in a matter of minutes. So really, this whole conversation is pointless.
It's pointless. Adam, push back against that. What do you think?
Well, look, we're dealing with a situation, as the package that you just played demonstrated, where making downloadable guns available to anybody anywhere means that somebody who can't go to a gun store and buy a gun because they'll fail a background check, maybe they're a domestic abuser, they have a long criminal rap sheet, whatever the reason, somebody who's unable to pass a background check and buy a gun can just download one off the internet with a click of a mouse, so long as they have the 3D printer. That's problem one. As we heard, these are untraceable, so law enforcement can't trace them in any way. That makes them an illegal gun trafficker's dream come true, and because they're plastic, they can be smuggled through traditional metal detector technology. So, this is a serious threat. It's a problem that warrants a serious response. And to just shrug your shoulders and suggest, nothing to see here, this doesn't matter at all, I think really vastly understates the real risk presented here.
Okay, so let's touch on a few things here. So first of all, we noticed that there was only in that conversation there was one expert. There was only one expert, and the person who knew and understood 3D printing, but also was into firearms. And he shared a historical perspective and information that was wholly 100% true and accurate. And what the statement was that whether you get the plans online, there are a million, well, I'll say a million, but there are a bunch of different ways to obtain this very same information. So not being able to post it online really doesn't mean anything. The other thing he noted was that people have been manufacturing guns at home, once again, since the Luddites. Since the beginning of firearms, people have been manufacturing firearms at home. And when you manufacture at home, guess what? They are untraceable. I mean, this is the idiotic thing. And here you have the guy, he's from the Gifford Law Center, to disarm the citizenry. But he completely and utterly ignored all of the information that is available to him and chose to speak in ignorance, despite the fact the truth put right in front of him. And he's not the only one. We all know our good friend Chuck Schumer. Well, Chuck Schumer decided that he was going to get into the whole discussion and debate about 3D guns. And here's what he had to say. He decided to say, well, hey, ghost guns are not only scary, they're outright dangerous in the way they can mimic the look and capacity of a hardened, fully semi-automatic weapon. Fully semi-automatic weapon. Yeah, he said it. Fully semi-automatic weapon. Now, I got to give the guy some credit. He's not the one who made up that term. But yet and still, he was dumbass enough to repeat it. Because that, once again, operating from a position of clear and complete ignorance. And, they do this stuff. They talk about, for example, they talk about the fact that these firearms, once again, are untraceable. Well, guess what? When you manufacture fire at home, if you don't have put a serial number on it and register that serial number with the government, guess what? It is an untraceable gun. If you get a gun if you steal a gun or you get a firearm that is stolen and you file the serial number off of that firearm, guess what? It is now an untraceable gun. I don't understand what is the... I don't understand what your point is. Is that criminals have much easier ways than to buy a computer system, download. The amount of time, energy, and effort and money it would take to print out this firearm that probably is going to last you maybe 5 rounds, if that. Let's be real. Okay, let's just be honest. 3D printed technology when it comes to firearms is far from perfected. These are far from quality firearms. What they are is just proof. They maybe just be the very beginning, but we're not talking about something that is equivalent to manufacturing a full and complete firearm through 3D printing. So, but if you listen to the news media, If you listen to them, well, you would think that's exactly what they are. These are people are manufacturing machine guns on a 3D printer. And it's amazing, once again, how quickly they are to dismiss information from people who actually know what they're doing. And by the way, I'm not the only one. I'm not the only one who's noticed this. My buddy Steven from over at the Washington Beacon, he put this tweet out. It says pretty much everything Ali Veleshi, whatever dude's name is saying about 3D printed guns on MSNBC. Well, duh. Of course, it's inaccurate. Right now it's factually inaccurate. There are so many outlets making so many false statements right now, it's impossible to keep up with them all. Yes, that is 100% true. They are completely and utterly lying to their teeth. And the thing is, it's funny, I did a story yesterday. With KCRA, a local station here. And, I made it a point when they start talking about these guns are undetectable. I said, yeah, but certain parts of the firearm have to be made out of metal. So, those are not undetectable. The firing pin and the ammunition in particular have to be made out of, or at least in the Liberator, are made. You have to be made out of metal. So I don't know what your point is here. I mean, they're not necessarily untraceable, but interestingly, that got left out of the story. Because, well, hey, but the fact that when you look at all the plans online, only really one of them is a 3D printable gun. But they don't care about anything else. All they care about is, wow, that's what's going on. Anyway, so Dana Loesch also has recognized it, and here's a statement that she put out on Twitter. This is a silly, uninformed article. It has never been illegal to print non-NFA designs on a 3D printer, not just a regular printer at home. People act like gunsmithing is a new thing. Yes, people do act like, once again, making firearms at home like it's never happened, like no one ever does it. It reminds me here in California when they found out that people with concealed carry permits could carry on school grounds and had been since 1923. All of a sudden, it was oh my God, I cannot believe this. I cannot believe that people are allowed to carry firearms on school grounds. Yeah, except that those people are law-abiding citizens who've gone through background checks, detailed background checks, who've tested with their firearms, who've proven that they not only know and understand the law, but they know and understand how to use their firearms. And from 1923 until today, there's never been an incident on a school campus in California with a CCW holder. But that really doesn't matter, does it? That sort of information, that sort of truth really is irrelevant in their eyes. But here's what it comes down to. And it comes down to the fact that, people want to consider themselves experts when they're not. Let me be the first to tell you, I am not an expert. I am not a firearms expert, but I know enough to cry BS when I see it. I know enough to know when these folks are not telling the truth. And so does my good friend Paula. She says, I am amazed at how many people did not know it is legal to make guns at home until today, and yet are suddenly experts on 3D printed guns. And that's what's so funny about it, is that they want to call themselves experts. They want to think that they have the ability to get up and say, well, these are horrible. And this said, no, here's what happened. A reporter called you and they said, did you hear about this? Did you hear about these 3D printed guns, these blueprints that are made available online where you can just download a gun? What do you think about that? And instead of taking the time to do your homework, instead of taking the time to understand what's going on, you decided you had to open your pie hole. And the media is just there. Look, their job is if it bleeds, it leads. Well, hey, if it's controversial, they're going to put it in the most controversial way in which they can in order to attract their viewers. And anyway, people wonder, they ask me, say, Craig, well, why do you do these interviews? Why do you still engage with the mainstream media? And the reason why is this. is because I need them to know that there's another voice out there. We need them to know there's another voice out there. The goal is, quite frankly, that they'll hear the common sense. They'll hear common sense. They will hear the truth through all of the noise. And they'll say, wait a minute. Okay, Craig Deleuze. What was that? The Firearms Policy Coalition? Let me Google that. And then they'll come to us. And then we will be able to provide them with the unfiltered truth, with the real information, right? That's why we work to grow our social media following. That's why we tell you, follow us on Twitter, subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Facebook, and encourage your friends to do the same. Because here's the deal, folks. If you didn't give a dime to us, right? If you didn't do one call to action that we asked you to do, which I'm not telling you not to do those two things, but if you just did nothing more than share the information that we're sharing, you are doing this country a great service. You are doing liberty in this country a great service, because you're getting the information to people who might otherwise not get it, who are relying on the CNNs and the MSNBCs and the Fox Newses and the New York Timeses and all, who are relying on the mainstream media who know nothing about anything to get them the truth. In this case, what we're saying is, I can't speak to a whole bunch of issues, but I can speak to the Second Amendment. We can speak to the Second Amendment. We can speak to firearms and firearms-related issues. And we can help make sure that you have all of the information, not the Republican information, not the Democratic information, the truth about Second Amendment and Second Amendment advocacy. We can get past the ignorance and the fear-mongering and get you what you need to know what you're talking about. And it's as simple as hit and share. It's that simple, folks. Hey, one share a day, that's all we ask. All right. Anyway, folks, that's going to be it for today's Coffee with Craig. I very much appreciate you guys tuning in. I also very much appreciate you guys liking and sharing. Let me say it again, liking and sharing this video feed so that your friends can become our friends and we can all fight for our constitutional right to keep and bear arms. You guys have fun. Take care. Stay safe. Stay free.
If you like our videos, follow, subscribe, like, and share.